Suciotalk, episode 19. We got a double header for you today. Chef Joseph Geiskopf, who put this all together simply by reaching out through Instagram and let me know he was a fan of the show. I was not very familiar with his body of work before then, so I did a little bit of prying, right? A little bit of spying, if you will. Checked him out, and he has an incredible resume. And he is joined by Val Cantu, right? So the way this worked was we recorded this in the outside dining room of Californios, the new outside dining room at Californios. It's like a fortress. It's like a black wooden panels around it, so you can't see into the dining room from the street. But even in a daylight setting, like I can see them doing lunch there and it being romantic, you know, because of the lighting that the black boards provide. And it's a very interactive episode. You can hear a lot of dining room preparation going on in the background, a lot of ironing tablecloths, killing flies. I mean, there's sirens go off at one point. There's cars passing by, beeping, you know. So shout out to them for doing it. Shout out to Val for doing it so close to service. I mean, it was like 2 p.m. when we started. And another shout out to Joe for hooking it up. He reached out to me. We were trying to figure out a place to do it, and he was like, well, why don't we do it over at Californios? And I was like, look, man, Suciotalk is new. I don't have that kind of pull. I can't just call him. And he's like, oh, no, I used to work with him. I was like, oh, okay. All right. There you go. So we sat down at the restaurant, met up, broad daylight, hot day, and we got right to it. Talk about their story. They met at Sons and Daughters, and then they worked together through a lot of iterations and the opening of Californios originally. All right, so we'll get to that in a minute. Before that, I want to say rest in peace, DMX. A lot of people that don't know about DMX judge him, right, for what they see in the media, and obviously he's made some mistakes. Like, we're all human. We've made mistakes. He's in the public eye. Therefore, you see every little thing he does. Also, he's a black man in America. Not easy to do, right? But I will say that he was blessed. Like, I'm a religious person. I guess not religious. Spiritual. I'm a spiritual person, but I'm not religious, right? I'm not reading the Bible, and it's a great story, right? The Bible, but not something that I'm going to live day in and day out. Because I feel like if you are going to be committed to the Bible and religion in that form, you better do it all the way, right? You can't just pick and choose what you want to do. So that's why I say I'm spiritual, right? So that way I can pick and choose sort of how to live my best life, right? Not in terms of the experiences I do and things like that, but just how I treat other people and my day-to-day mannerisms with the outside world, right, as I move through it. But DMX was a poet, and he had words and phrases that came out of him that you would never expect, right? The man was a junkie. He started smoking crack when he was 13. So just imagine all of the challenges that he had to deal with, and he still overcame. He still became a platinum record-selling artist, right? Known worldwide. And at that time, when his music was coming out, hip-hop was a little bit slower. It was, Wu-Tang. I'm not saying that they weren't aggressive, but the beat was a little slower. And I think DMX was the first one, in my eyes, in my opinion, that sort of brought that kind of fast-paced beat to it. And, it was like workout music before there was any of that. You know what I mean? Before workout music was just classic rock, I guess, right? And then DMX came on the scene and it was like, okay, we can go a little faster, right? And still get a message across, a strong message. And not only that, his albums were full of prayers and wisdom. I mean, the guy had wisdom. I guess I want to say he had wisdom beyond his knowledge, but we'll have to look at that phrase. Wisdom beyond his knowledge. I like that. But we'll see if it actually fucking makes sense, before I start using it all the time. So shout out to him, DMX. The outpour of the hip hop community has been amazing, and I know that people my age were around for his music, and it's very much a part of your school life, right? X Gonna Give It To You came out at every single school dance I ever went to, right? So all these songs put you in a time and place, which is the most amazing thing about music, and correlates to food too, right? So the memory brings you right back to where you were. Also, shout out to the team at Truffle Shuffle, right? Especially Sarah Rundle and Ian Rosentrop. Did I say his name correctly? I don't know. He makes bomb-ass fried chicken. And, Sarah and Ian have been an integral part of the company since, day one, Sarah especially. And I want to also shout them out, because I'm always talking about Tyler and Jason, and they're amazing human beings. But, they're a team over there. And I can't wait to meet more of the team, right? Because as they continue to grow as a business, as a company, they get new employees, right? But this is not a company that's going to have a lot of turnover. I mean, it's a great, great place to work. And Tyler, Jason, as chefs, are willing to teach anybody that wants to learn. Skill can be taught. Attitude and energy is something that you sort of bring with you, into the world. And if you're a positive person, and I would say, definitely go over there if you're interested in what they got going on, because they're awesome. Not saying they're hiring. They didn't put me out here and say, hey, Dave, we need you to hire people. I'm just spreading the positive message of Truffle Shuffle, all right? As their chef ambassador, I need to make sure that I do that every week here on Suciotalk. Understand? So they're going to be on Shark Tank, and there's a viewing party on April 16th. All right, I'm talking about they went all out. They got a drive-in movie theater. There's going to be people in their cars. There's going to be a DJ, right? So the way it's going to be is they're going to have a little documentary in the beginning, right, that they made themselves. As you know, their production value is amazing, so I can't wait to watch this documentary. And then after that, we got the actual episode, right, where they're going to go into the Shark Tank, and we'll see the outcome of that at the end. And then they're going to have a little DJ set with DJ Ski and DJ Shortcut. So that's April 16th. I think you can still get tickets online right now to either show up at the drive-in. I don't think that's been sold out yet. Or join virtually at home, just like always. They just had a polenta class yesterday that went really well. Saw it on social media this morning. And I'll actually be doing a special episode with Truffle Shuffle to talk about their Truffle Shuffle Shark Tank experience, what they had to do to get prepared to get on the show, and all the sort of factors that played into that. Especially in this world of pandemic, we got to quarantine everywhere we go. Did they have to quarantine? Where did they quarantine? I think they shoot it in Vegas, so kind of a wild place to quarantine, if you ask me. And I'd like to also go back to something I said at the beginning of the episode. Joseph Geiskopf, amazing resume, and I didn't really know who he was until he got a hold of me on Instagram. And then I checked him out, and I was like, wow, this people should hear this guy's story. Which brings me to another person that reached out, Jessie Liu. She's a junior sous at Silo in London, the restaurant that I want to try. And she messaged me, and she said she loved the show. She's recommending it to all her friends, which means the world to me. So thank you, Jessie, very much. And she also kind of showed or introduced me to some other people. For example, Pamela Young. Shout out to you, Pamela Young, Y-U-N-G. She's at Floor London and ASAP Pizza. I think it's floor.london on Instagram and asap.pizza on Instagram as well. So check her out. She's Jessie Lou's ex-head chef. All right? And the reason why I brought the whole Joseph Geiskopf resume thing up is because I asked Jessie to be a guest on the show. And she sort of felt as if she wasn't experienced enough to be on the show. And for me, I think that I would rather capture the whole story, right? Because right now I'm capturing after the fact, right? Everything's already happened, and we're reflecting on it. But if I can catch the story while it's happening, because this woman seems to me like she's ambitious, and she's going places, right? I would love nothing more than to document her career on this podcast. You know, not just her, anybody. The reason I got into this, doing the podcast, apart from inspiring and all that, was to, one, be able to get in the room with cool-ass chefs that I look up to, but also be able to showcase those cooks and sous chefs and dishwashers and SOMs and GMs that aren't in the public eye or aren't seen, you know, and not in a celebrity way, right? This is Suciotalk. I don't have that pull yet, all right, where I can make you famous. But at the end of the day, people that are passionate and listen to the show, listen to their story, right? And anywhere in a person's story, you can find inspiration. And that is the reason why these are so long sometimes. These are unedited to the point where I listen to them and I'm like, I don't know how people listen to this shit. I'm saying too much. I'm not forming my sentences correctly. I'm pausing when I talk too much, right? It's a critique, on myself always. And I've come to the conclusion that I'm not going to edit those things out. Unless it causes a real distraction. I can't undo the ums and the likes, right? that'll take me a couple years to get out of my system. But it's important to me that I get better at communication and that the show gets better and easier to listen to as time goes on. Okay? So that's the goal here. Like, there's always a goal behind the Suciotalk, right? And another reason that I have come to love doing this show is the adventure that it takes to get to the person or place. That's some of the coolest things that I've been able, traveling and driving long distances to get where I need to go and be able to, sort of go on these long journeys by myself, get more time to write a little bit. I'm not a writer by any means, but I like to put my thoughts down on paper, and then, that way I can look at them after and reflect on them. Like, was that dumb of you to think? Is that a good idea? Does that sound smart? Like wisdom beyond his knowledge, right? And I'm definitely not trying to be anything else other than myself. And so I really appreciate the fact that people listen to this, because sometimes I listen to it and I'm like, what the fuck? But if you don't believe in yourself, who's gonna believe in you? Fucking no one. All right? So I believe in this show. If you believe in this show, shout it out when you're listening to it on the old social media. Show people what's up, because the more people we can reach, the better.